So right now talk about tree, and before anything else, we should try to establish every single item. So the character for the day is tree. I believe whatever we are doing over here falls under the category of DFS. And for conditions, that the tree casting spells. And for every single Leetcode question, there's obviously some form of like rule book for us to actually follow. And I mean, the core objective is fundamentally to actually check if these two items are the same. So core objective, same tree. And that's what we are checking. So cool. We can come on to the playoff series to learn more. Cool. So like what they talk about is that as long as like this item is equals to this item, the whole question will be true already. So I mean, in another words, like they also talk about like if this item is removed, these items won't be true, or this item is another value, it won't be true also, because this item is of a different value. And what they actually do over here is that they first up check with like this singular item. So this is a 1 and 1, and that obvious, we check this and this first, and they're true, we can kind of like ignore it, and then we suddenly break down into this subtree and this subtree. It becomes another problem, but it's in the form of like a sub problem from the main problem from the very start. And my argument is Operation Z. Is there any sort of way whereby I can just check every single item like this? And to me, Operation Z is just arguing something to do with that, we need to check whether our store has all these items or not. So you say check A and check B. But inside of A, the umbrella of A, there's like many items. How are you gonna logically use a computer, make a computer sense to be able to check the item? So I think Operation Z is coming from a very layman term of like checking. But for Operation Y, which is what they are doing over here, is that they are fundamentally going down on every single steps that's required to be able to actually check on all the items. So that's what it's doing. It's checking this, it's checking this, it's checking this, it's literally going to every single node and checking all of it. Whereas Z, you're just saying that, oh, let's just check. But how are you going to check? Operation Y is the one is actually telling you that it's going to check this, and this. So that's what it's doing. Operation M, on the other hand, is saying that you check this and you check this. Cool. Now we suddenly broke the prop from a big tree into two sub trees, and that's great because you're getting somewhere. So the next thing for operation M per se is that you come to 2, you check this to this. Is this valid? Yes, it's valid. You check this and this. Is this valid? It is valid. And therefore you return back to the system and say that, yep, both trees are equal. I just want to say that this whole question by its own, it feels very vague, it feels very gray. It feels like you enter into the forest with a very limited vision, and you don't know what the hell is going on with things. You don't know how the mechanics are working. It's very logical based that you check this, and check this. Cool. So it just makes me more intrigued to have like the curiosity to actually learn more about trees and how do they actually apply DFS. How they actually apply BFS. What's the difference between DFS and BFS? And how am I gonna include multiple operations at the same time to do the reiteration? How am I gonna like abuse the mechanics of the tree or to do the DFS and stuff? I'm just curious. But I mean, you know what? Back to the topic of like saying the rulebook. Whatever it's asking us to do is like basically check that if it's a same tree or not fundamentally. And at the core of this is just asking, is it the same value for every single node, right? And I mean, I honestly don't really know what spell is actually casting, but I feel like you can just cast a BFS over here, because I mean, now that I think about it, I don't. To me, DFS is some form of like a passive spell, right? Some form of like passive spell, and this passive spell is able to, you know, logically condition based to actually run through every single node. Right, just, you know, going here, going there, yada yada. Yeah, pretty much. But and while doing so, I think it will actually kind of like ask that, can start doing some form of like comparison value, which I think at the core it's what we are trying to do for this Leetcode question, which is checking whether the values are same or not. So with this spell itself, it's able to actually solve the Leetcode question. So the moment that you're asking that, okay, we're checking for nodes, we're checking whether it's the same value or not, we can think of the spell of like you know, actually going down to every single node, and by having that, we are actually trying to compare every single values for each, and we think of like the spell of casting the tree, specifically DFS per se. So yeah, that's my argument for this. Obviously, always you have like the brute force to actually want to actually fight against the character, and I would say that I just think that to my eyes at least, brute force is like doing this operation O, where it comes to here and it just doesn't know, it just won't be able to know to move left, right, and stuff. I just feel like it's like an item with no brain at all. It doesn't know go left or go right. It's I don't know. Like maybe it does am able to actually go down to every single node and then eventually be able to actually return to the system and actually check. That could be true, but at the same time, like from I just feel like it's very similar to Operation Z, where I say that check this tree law and then check this tree law. But how are you going to move to the left? How are you going to move to the right? That's when Operation Y comes in. Operation Y comes in that say that, okay, is this value same? Okay, same, true. Okay, I can now move on to my next subtree. And to Operation ZIs, there's no such thing as subtree, there's no such thing as tree. So you aren't able to break down problems from a big problem into a small problem. You are just going to be asked that, is this equal to this value? But how are you going to do it? Operation Z is the one that Operation Y is the one that actually goes down to actually go down under the hood to actually explain every single thing. So to me, to that, it's how I actually argue to actually fight against brute force. So coming to that, yeah, everything comes to an end.